There is a fire in you that no one else can duplicate, no matter how hard they try. It isn't something you borrowed or learned. It's the raw imprint of your essence, the spark that sets you apart the moment you step into a room. Without forcing, without pretending, you radiate in a way that unsettles those who crave what you have but can never touch. Their frustration only proves how rare your presence is, because the truth cannot be forged or faked. What pulses through you is more than surface glow. It's a resonance that comes from deep within. Every step you take, every choice you make, carries the weight of your growth, your scars, and your victories. That's why people feel something when you move. They recognize a strength that isn't rehearsed but lived. This is why you inspire some to rise higher and unsettle others who secretly wish to dim you. They watch, they whisper, they try to replicate, but their efforts collapse under the weight of their own hollowness. You, on the other hand, don't need to chase validation. Your rhythm is yours alone. Your presence is like a rhythm no one else can master, an untamed beat that doesn't follow the rules, but still commands attention. Others can attempt to mimic the sound, but their echoes are flat and lifeless. The distinction lies in the origin. Yours comes from truth, theirs from imitation. Every path you've walked, every challenge you've endured, carved layers of resilience into you. That layering is what makes your shine unshakable. It's not a mask you wear. It's the natural reflection of a spirit that has learned to stand tall without asking permission. Some are captivated, some are unsettled, but all are moved by the energy you carry. It doesn't just linger, it shifts the atmosphere. That effect cannot be copied because it is born of alignment. Your core, your story, your unbreakable pulse, that you're not here by chance. Feel the pull. Tap join to unlock truth, purpose, and a tribe that gets it. This is more than a membership, it's your calling. And this is what makes you unforgettable. You don't need to bend, conform, or shout for attention. The world notices you because your authenticity refuses to be silenced. That is your gift, your edge, and your unshakable power. The world often rewards masks and illusions, yet you refuse to trade your essence for approval. While others bend themselves to fit expectations, your way of being cuts through the noise, like a clear bell in a crowded square. Without uttering a sentence, you alter the atmosphere around you, and long after you've stepped away, the impression lingers like an unshakable echo that can't be ignored. It isn't a polished image or a carefully arranged display that draws others in. It's the unfiltered honesty that radiates from you. That rare quality unsettles some because they're used to surfaces, not depth. In a culture where gloss often outshines grit, your refusal to play along becomes its own quiet revolution. You don't anchor your worth in trophies or applause. Instead, you hold steady in the storm of your own contradictions, carrying the jagged edges as confidently as the smooth ones. That balance, the ability to honor both light and shadow, reveals a strength that is immune to imitation. Where many stumble under the weight of comparison, you stand on the ground you've claimed for yourself. You have made peace with the imperfect pieces, weaving them into a whole that feels unshakably real. Others watch and wonder, baffled at how serenity can coexist with scars. What unsettles them most is not arrogance, but your ease. To be at home within your own skin, while they struggle to feel comfortable even in borrowed roles, is a reminder they cannot dismiss. Your presence is a mirror, showing them not just who you are, but what they are hiding from themselves. Your essence doesn't shout, yet it commands. Like a steady flame that outlasts the wind, you illuminate quietly, making those nearby see more clearly. The truth you embody is not loud, yet it penetrates deeper than performance ever could. And in the end, that is the quiet force that draws people back to thoughts of you. Not a crafted image, not a stage performance, but a reality too solid to fade. What you carry cannot be forged or faked. It is the rare weight of someone fully alive in their own truth. Power doesn't ask for permission, it simply radiates, and that's what unsettles those who can't grasp it. The strength you carry isn't borrowed from trends or rules written by others. It's born from standing firmly in your own ground. Where many chase approval by wearing masks that suffocate them, you've stripped those layers away. What remains is something they can't imitate, a presence that isn't manufactured but naturally commanding, Attempts to copy you always fall short because what they're chasing isn't an action or a style. It's an essence. They mimic gestures, words, or choices. But what they'll never capture is the current of authenticity that runs through you. That current is what fuels your rise while they stumble, draining themselves trying to sustain illusions. Their frustration grows each time they see you soaring without effort, while they remain tethered by their own facades. You've unlocked the kind of clarity that can't be handed down or purchased. It's the awareness that your individuality is not a weakness, but the very thing that sets you apart in a world of sameness. That realization has become your unshakable ground. Others sense it too, though they'd rather deny it than face the reflection you hold up. That denial often turns to bitterness, because what you embody is something they can't fabricate no matter how hard they rehearse. The whispers about you prove that your presence can't be ignored. Some speak with admiration, compelled by the courage they see in you. Others speak with envy, trying to twist your light into shadows. But whether the voices cheer or sneer, neither adds nor subtracts from who you are. The truth of your path isn't swayed by outside commentary, because you've learned to navigate by an inner compass that doesn't bend to noise. If your heart overflows with God's blessings, let that love shine. Click the super thank you button and give $50 or more to plant seeds of faith that will impact countless lives. Your generosity reflects His abundance. Be a vessel of His grace and watch His kingdom flourish through you. Rumors are nothing more than static in the background of a clear signal. They only gain strength if you pause to amplify them, and you've chosen not to. Your focus remains forward, and that's what strips their words of any real weight. The clamor fades quickly when met with indifference, while your steady movement continues unbothered. When people feel threatened, they reach for easy weapons, and gossip is the bluntest of them all. It costs nothing to spread, but it also carries no true impact against someone who knows their worth. Their attempts to drag you down say more about their own unrest than about you. In truth, their fixation is a backhanded admission of your influence, proof that you occupy their thoughts even when they wish you didn't. Their efforts to define you crumble because they're rooted in falsehood, while your sense of self is anchored in lived truth. That foundation shields you from being shaken by shallow attacks. No matter how much they project their own insecurities onto your name, you continue to stand taller, moving beyond their reach. And that's what they will never understand. Real power doesn't shout. It simply endures, unshaken, unstoppable. Attention only circles those who move with impact, and that's exactly why your name travels from mouth to mouth. No one wastes energy on those who leave no mark. The constant chatter is evidence that you're advancing in a way that others can't ignore. Their fixation is never about your worth, but about their own inability to measure up. And instead of focusing on themselves, they point their arrows at you. Yet every time they try to reduce you with words, they only confirm that you're walking a path too bright to be dimmed. Their judgment has no real hold, though they pretend it does. They twist stories, create rumors, and craft versions of you that only exist in their heads. But those shadows they cast don't define the reality you live in. The only thing that matters is the direction you choose to move in. Will you waste your time with the echoes of their bitterness? Or will you continue forward undistracted? The answer is already clear. You refuse to be chained by voices that carry no truth. Energy spent on pettiness is energy wasted, and you've already mastered the art of protecting your focus. While they try to pull you into circles of trivial conflict, your eyes stay locked on horizons they can't even see. The noise fades behind you because you've learned that it only thrives when given attention. Your silence toward them is louder than their accusations will ever be. Criticism often hides deeper wounds, and those who hurl it most violently are usually the ones most unsettled by their own reflection. They see in you a strength, a certainty, a brilliance that they can't summon in themselves. Rather than confront their own lack of growth, they choose the easier route, aiming at you, hoping to chip away at something they could never replicate. But their attempts only spotlight the gap between your progress and their stagnation. You've recognized that envy speaks in disguises, but the message is always the same. They are hurting, and your existence reminds them of what they lack. That isn't your burden to carry. You know that what they project has nothing to do with your journey. and that clarity shields you from taking their words to heart. Their barbs may scratch the surface, but they never reach deep enough to alter your foundation. The more they speak, the more obvious it becomes who is truly winning. While they invest in tearing pages out of your story, you're busy writing new chapters filled with victories they can't touch. Their obsession fuels their own decline, while your determination builds momentum that only elevates you further. They remain locked in the same cycles, while you're already onto the next level. And that is the difference they can't swallow. While they burn themselves out with bitterness, you rise with purpose. Their fixation is proof, their words are confirmation, and their envy is the clearest evidence that you're doing exactly what you should. The path ahead is wide open, and nothing they say has the strength to close it. No amount of chatter has the power to dismantle momentum once it's in motion. Their attempts to slow you with empty words only spotlight how little control they actually hold. The noise they create circles endlessly, but your steps remain steady, climbing higher as their envy leaks through every syllable. They may borrow your gestures or echo your choices, but the heartbeat of your essence is unreachable to them. That gap is what unsettles them most. The truth is that outside judgment carries no real weight compared to the inner compass that guides you. What fuels your direction isn't approval but conviction, and that conviction keeps you aligned no matter how much distortion others project. While they scatter energy trying to define you, your course remains clear, untouched by the static of opinions that hold no substance. Their claims are smoke, your purpose is fire. Their anger comes from their inability to eclipse what they cannot duplicate. They spend themselves circling around your name, attempting to tether you to their narrative. But all the while, you keep creating a reality too expansive for them to box in. The more they resist, the more you outpace them. Their fixation is evidence of your strength, a reminder that your light exposes what they wish to hide in themselves. When the noise grows louder, it only emphasizes your silence and discipline. You've learned that their voices fade in the distance, while your progress writes stories louder than anything they can fabricate. Each time they whisper, you rise further. Each attempt to drag you becomes another reason you ascend. They don't realize they've become unwilling fuel for your growth. If you've been touched by God's goodness, don't keep it to yourself. Click Super Thank You and sow a gift of $20 or more to help spread His light. Your giving becomes a ripple of grace, blessing hearts and building His kingdom. Let His overflow pour through you. In a world filled with judgments and shallow labels, what truly sustains you is alignment with a deeper truth. That truth isn't shaken by gossip, isn't swayed by disapproval, and isn't diminished by doubt. It shields and strengthens, reminding you that elevation is inevitable for those who move with clarity and integrity. Their rejection is irrelevant when your path is already carved by something greater than their comprehension. And as they scatter negativity, life's balance ensures that none of it travels aimlessly. What they cast outward finds its way back to them, shaped in the same form they released it. Attempts to hinder you become obstacles in their own lanes. What they meant as harm becomes the mirror of their own undoing. You keep moving forward, while consequences catch up to them in silence. What unfolds behind the scenes isn't always visible, but trust that every attempt to harm is recorded in the fabric of existence. The very energy designed to delay you boomerangs to its sender, leaving you untouched. You don't need to witness it to know it's real, because while they trip over their own hostility, you keep stepping higher, carried by the certainty that nothing they conjure can erase what is already destined. Those who move through life with truth as their foundation carry an invisible shield around them. No mask, no deceit, no manipulation can outlast the quiet power of integrity. While some may think their cruelty is hidden or their schemes are forgotten, the weight of their choices always circles back. The storms they set in motion eventually find their way home, and what they try to unleash on you now surrounds them instead. Every decision plants a seed, and eventually, the ground gives back what was sown. Those who scatter harm into the world are watering their own downfall without even realizing it. The very hostility they directed outward becomes the soil of their own struggles. What once seemed like cleverness is now unraveling into regret, and their own lives are bending under the weight of choices they thought would never catch up. Meanwhile, your refusal to waver has lifted you beyond their reach. While their world cracks under the pressure of what they created, you rise with steady steps, untouched by the chaos that consumes them. The balance of life never forgets who acted with malice and who remained upright. That balance is now leaning in your favor, restoring what was delayed and bringing forth rewards that waited for the right time. The attempts to strip you of your peace are being overturned. What was stolen is returning, and what was blocked is now flowing freely. The delays they thought would break you are becoming the very reason your blessings are multiplied. By holding firm to your principles, you set yourself apart from their games, and that separation has become your victory. Retribution always finds its way to those who believed they could harm without consequence. The cycles of life are unbreakable, and no one escapes the weight of their own actions. Those who tried to diminish you are now facing the shadows they cast, while your path opens wider with every step. Their downfall is their own creation. Your rise is the outcome of your resilience. There's no escaping the laws that govern balance. What is sent outward never disappears. It travels, shifts, and inevitably returns. The harm they delivered with intent is echoing back, louder than they ever expected. They thought silence meant safety, but silence was only time preparing their lessons. And now, they stand in the center of the consequences they summoned. While they wrestle with the weight of their own choices, you move forward unburdened. Your elevation isn't tied to their approval or hindered by their sabotage. You're stepping higher because you never allowed bitterness to poison your path. Their actions have chained them, but you remain free, proving once again that what is built on integrity can never be destroyed. What makes this season even more radiant is that your rewards are not limited to opportunities or achievements. Love is woven into them too. A bond is making its way into your life, one that is rooted in authenticity and loyalty. It won't be about appearances or convenience, but about connection and truth. This union will mirror the growth you've embraced within yourself, and those who once tried to silence your light will watch as your joy multiplies through companionship as well as success. Attempts to disrupt your blessings have already fallen flat. Every whisper, every scheme, every effort to cloud your path has dissolved against the shield that surrounds you. What was meant to harm has turned powerless, because the energy guiding you is stronger than any opposition. You continue moving forward, untouched, rising higher than the doubts and hostility aimed at you. No shadow can dim what has already been marked as yours. With each elevation comes a shift in the landscape around you. Paths diverge, and some faces are no longer meant to walk beside you. This is not accident or coincidence. It is the clearing of space for greater alignments. What feels like distance or endings is actually a preparation for doors that need to open. The journey demands lighter steps, and those who cannot handle your ascent simply fall away. This process is not meant to wound you, but to protect your future. Each person who exits makes room for those who are ready to support your next level. The people, the opportunities, the blessings that match your frequency are moving closer, while anything that would hold you back is fading. What once felt like loss will soon be recognized as liberation, as the path ahead widens with possibilities. The separation you feel is not rooted in rejection, but in alignment. Some chapters close because the story is shifting into one they no longer belong to. These changes may touch the heart, especially when they involve figures from your past, but they are necessary to protect your growth. Carrying energy that no longer resonates would weigh you down, and the momentum of your rise cannot be slowed. You are being guided into spaces where everything matches the vibration of who you've become. The relationships that remain will reflect strength, trust, and clarity, while anything unstable will fall away on its own. What looks like endings from the outside are actually openings, stepping stones toward the future you've been prepared for. Through it all, your path is being cleared with precision. Each shift is deliberate, each change designed to lift you higher. What was never truly for you is being removed, and what is aligned is being delivered. This transition is not chaos. It is order disguised as movement. You are being positioned exactly where you need to be, surrounded only by what can rise with you. Growth reshapes everything around you, not just the milestones you reach, but the person you become. As your spirit expands, the rhythm of your energy changes, and not everyone can keep pace with that new frequency. Some cling to the outdated reflection of who you once were because it makes them feel safe, but you've already stepped beyond that frame. The version they hold onto no longer exists, and you are being called to honor the evolution unfolding within you. Transformation often asks for solitude, and while it may sting, that distance is carving space for something greater. The uneasiness in strained connections isn't about failure, it's about preparation. Those who seem supportive may grow uneasy, not because you've changed for the worse, but because your progress shines a light on where they've chosen not to grow. The tension reveals their fear, not your flaw. And though it feels heavy, your journey can't be slowed to make others comfortable. Your life is undergoing a shift that bridges the unseen and the visible. While others remain bound by familiar cycles, you're being drawn upward into uncharted ground. With every level you rise to, the crowd around you thins, not as punishment but as alignment. The unfolding path requires companions who can stand the altitude, and not everyone is built for that climb. It's not rejection, it's refinement. As the scenery changes, so does the company you keep. You begin finding resonance with people whose presence feels like fuel rather than weight. The circle around you may shrink, but it becomes denser in loyalty, strength, and purpose. It's not about quantity anymore, but about quality. Those who match your frequency are the ones meant to journey with you now. Your ascent is measured not only in external rewards, but in the wisdom and fulfillment that have grown within. What once felt overlooked is now undeniable. You've moved from scarcity to abundance in more than one form. Love, clarity, and peace are the riches you now carry. Those who once dismissed your worth will be forced to recognize what they ignored, yet their blindness cannot be allowed to hold back your progress. Stepping into a position of influence isn't without resistance. Some resist your rise because it disrupts their comfort. Yet leadership was never about pleasing everyone. You've earned your role through healing and persistence, carving space for others to see what is possible. The work you've done on yourself has built the platform from which you now stand, steady enough to guide those who are watching. And at the root of it all lies the strength of self-love. Without it, your steps would falter under the weight of opposition. With it, you move with grace, unbothered by attempts to derail you. The more they push against you, the smoother your path becomes, because you're aligned with purpose, not ego. They may drain themselves competing in battles that don't exist, while you move forward with clarity, proof that grace is the greatest power of all. Your path was marked long before others tried to challenge it, and no rival can erase what's already secured. The position you now hold isn't accidental. It's the result of alignment, endurance, and authenticity. While many are still searching for their direction, you've already claimed yours with confidence, which is why your presence stands out. Attempts to discredit you only expose the weakness of those trying, because nothing can overturn what has already been established for your life. While they scatter energy in futile battles, you remain focused on building foundations too strong to be shaken. The sight of your independence unsettles those who lack the same courage. Watching you create stability and freedom for yourself provokes envy, because they cannot see beyond the results to the sacrifices that built them. They don't understand the late nights, the risks, the faith, and the persistence it took to reach this stage. What they perceive as luck is, in reality, the product of resilience and strategy. Their unease is not about your success. It's about their unwillingness to confront their own complacency. You've learned to step out of survival mode and into an abundance mindset, and that shift has changed everything. While others scramble under pressure, you've discovered how to create opportunities rather than wait for them. Your strength lies not just in financial gain, but in the freedom of knowing you depend on no one for validation or stability. That independence cuts deeply into those who rely on appearances rather than true progress. The abundance you've attracted mirrors the inner work you've done. Proof that prosperity begins in the mind before it shows in the material world. Their frustration grows because they know your results didn't come from shortcuts, but from consistency. They could have walked a similar road, but choosing comfort was easier than transformation. So instead of facing the truth, they compare themselves to you, not realizing that your victories were born from trials they never witnessed. What looks effortless now is the fruit of years of persistence, of rising after every fall, of refusing to be defined by setbacks. The difference between you and them is not circumstance, but perspective. You've tapped into alignment with your purpose, and from that place, your efforts flow naturally into results. It may appear to outsiders that things are handed to you, but they're only witnessing the harvest, not the planting season. What they call luck is simply harmony with the path you're meant to walk. You're operating on a frequency that cannot be imitated because it was cultivated through growth and discipline. Your role isn't to trail behind others. It's to carve your own way, and in doing so, show what's possible. Whether through building ventures, creating freedom, or mastering discipline, your life serves as living proof that limitations can be broken. Those who mock or envy are only revealing their own resistance to change, while your life quietly stands as the counterargument to their doubt. Your success is a roadmap, and whether they admit it or not, they're watching to see how you move. What's most remarkable is how complete your transformation has been. The same people who once dismissed your potential now find themselves silenced by the reality of who you've become. But what they still don't grasp is that this evolution didn't begin with external changes. It began within, by facing your own shadows, by healing what once felt broken, and by choosing to grow rather than remain stagnant. You created a foundation unshakable by outside voices. That inner shift is what makes your rise undeniable, and it's why no one can take away what was never theirs to give.